So, we had the longest match in AEW history last night. Probably the longest singles match in major US wrestling TV in 15 plus years. I don't know. It's been a lot.
You did say singles match, correct?
Singles match, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
Yeah.
I'm glad you put the qualifier there of singles match because the E did a gauntlet match a couple of years ago where Seth Rollins stayed in for over an hour. But again, it was not one match with one fall. It was facing a bunch of different opponents.
Yeah. So as far as singles matches, I don't think we've seen a 60-minute draw for quite some time, especially in US TV. For New Japan, they've done a few in the past 5 years or so. So it has happened, but
and this match has already drawn some comparisons to one of those New Japan 60-minute time limit draws.
I'm assuming they're going Omega Okada for comparison. Yes. Kind of funny, they did it kind of a little out of order. They skipped the match that had a finish between the two of them. They went straight to the 60-minute draw.
Yeah.
Where does it head after this? Are we heading for a Bryan Danielson Hangman Page rematch at the pay-per-view in March with some sort of stipulation of there has to be a winner? Don't stick a time limit on it, but it ends up going like 45 minutes.
I was watching a video earlier today, and they were speculating that the rematch might happen at Battle of the Belts.
Maybe, but if they're going to do that on a 1 hour show...
2 hour show.
2 hour, so it's confirmed 2 hours? I saw it was confirmed 2 hours on Fight, but I don't know if it's going to be...
Fight has it listed as 2. I'm going with Fight until I hear otherwise.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if they're going to do something, either have it be no time limit, and then, as you said, like end it at like 45 minutes, or say, you know what, we're going 60-minute Iron Man match. If it's a draw after 60 minutes, sudden death.
As far as Iron Man, I don't like the Iron Match stipulation because that gives no weight to the rest of the match until you get to the 60-minute portion.
Right, but if you do kind of like, and I've heard that it was basically 45 minutes of rest holds. The Shawn Michaels Bret Hart Iron Man, where it went 60 minutes, nobody got a fall, and then they went to the sudden death. If you did, an Iron Man kind of like that, but don't have it be 45 minutes of rest holds, that's a possibility of what they could do, but I don't really know if that would fit the style of AEW.
Yeah. I think they're going to head for the pay-per-view with a there must be a winner type of stipulation. Like, we're going until it's over.
Yeah, no time limit. Go till somebody wins.
Yeah.
Or they could even another possibility, and I don't recall this having been done in AEW before, just do a last man standing.
Normally I'd say, it depends on the workers, but in this case it's Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page, so then I'd say yes. I could do a last man standing with those two.
Yeah.
overall, this was a you can really track basically my thoughts in the chat last night on the Bryan Danielson Hangman Page match, because I'm like, where I said at 8:21, I said I have a feeling this is going 40, and then when it hit the 30-minute, and then it gets closer to 40, I'm like, they're going for the 60-minute draw.
I intentionally stayed out of the Discord last night because I had a conflict where I couldn't start watching right at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching late.
Yep.
And I didn't want spoilers.
Yes. Yeah, that would.
Even though I did accidentally see one of your things saying it's at 45 minutes. Like that's all I saw. And it was like, all right, I've got to stay away. I'm not even going to open Discord. And when I did open, it was complete accident trying to get something else open. But yeah, it was a really good show. And Sue is getting in on Twitter now, asking for Greggy to come help her because she's being threatened. And I had to look up, and Greg is Trent's birth name.
Correct. She's called him Greggy quite a few times over the past year. But yes, overall, I thought this was an excellent show. And going in, they only had 4 matches announced. And given how long the first match went, that made way more sense. Because normally they're going to announce 5 to 6 matches. In this case, right. 4. I'm like, they're going to fill up the first half of the show with one match. So it worked out.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into the details of the show, you're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can follow the links in the show notes to those channels and subscribe to those. If you want to listen to this as a podcast later, you can do that on all your favorite podcast apps. Discord link is in the show notes as well. Follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1, and you can follow Darryl at Darryl W. Perry on the Twitter as well. How's it been going over for the last week?
Pretty good. I don't remember what I did on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but I didn't actually watch Rampage until like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't watch it until an hour before Dynamite.
Yeah, so going good. Again, in school and just trying to get ahead a little bit on assignments. We have no class next week, which is really nice. So I'm working on my final projects for both of my classes.
I had an awful week because on Tuesday, I woke up thinking it was Saturday. So now my entire week has been completely screwed up because every day I wake up, I'm like, oh, it's not Saturday.
No, it's not Saturday.
One more day to go. And then we can have a day off. All right, so let's go back a little bit in time here. Quickly talk about Rampage because interesting stuff happened over there. We had a tag team.
I guess you're not talking about the fan that snuck into the back pretending he was a wrestler.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then got escorted out by Dax, and I forget who the other one was.
I think it was MJF.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't read much about it. I just kind of saw the headline. So what you said is about all I know about it.
Yeah, apparently he was asked who trained, because at first he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm an extra, like they might need me," and then a little bit of time goes on and people are I guess trying to make small talk, and somebody was like, "So who trained you?" He's like, Jeff Hardy." Jeff Hardy has never worked as a trainer. When he was asked who brought him in, like, who exactly brought you in for this, like possible extra work? He named somebody that didn't work in talent relations at all. And then as they were
he named somebody who was not Christopher Daniels.
Sure. I
he's head of
don't
talent
know.
Relations.
Okay. But yeah, it wasn't Christopher Daniels or, I'm assuming that, like any of the EVPs, I don't know, like, but yeah, like I didn't hear exactly whose name, but like he said a name and everybody knew, like, yeah, that's not one of the people that does this. And as they were starting to try to kick him out, he says, "I'm best friends with Taz." And they're like, "No, you're not." And that's when he was definitely gone. Apparently, he got by the security for the arena, so it wasn't like AEW's own security in the backstage area. It was the UBS arena that he told them, "Oh yeah, I'm an extra enhancement talent," and they're like, "Oh okay, come on through."
So the UBS arena staff picked a bouquet of oopsie daisies.
Yeah.
So we had, starting off the Rampage show, we had FTR challenging the Lucha Bros for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. This was supposed to happen the previous week, but we had some travel issues with Phoenix. So they're having it this week, and this was just a regular 1 falls match instead of the 2 out of 3 falls match that had originally been planned, which is funny enough because even the show, the match at Triple Mania was supposed to be 2 out of 3, and then it ended up becoming a ladder match. So this 2 out of 3 falls match just doesn't want to happen.
Yeah, it will probably maybe happen at some point in this reality.
Yep.
There is a reality somewhere where it's already happened.
This match was pretty good. Of course, I mean, it's FTR and Lucha Bros, and FTR tries to use some underhanded tactics. Near the end, FTR hit a belt shot, but I believe it was Phoenix who ate it, but he kicks out. And then Phoenix and Penta end up hitting the Fear Factor on I forgot who Cash, I believe. Was it Cash?
Let's see here. I'm reading the recap here, and yeah, it was Cash Wheeler.
Yeah.
That took the pin.
So this is a good show.
There was also, I think at one point, didn't Phoenix accidentally hit somebody with the belt?
Yes. So one of the FTR was trying to pass the belt in. So Phoenix grabbed it and was pulling it away, and when the guy let go of it, he, when somebody suddenly lets go of something when you're pulling really hard on it, well, he then swung back and whacked the other guy.
Yeah,
I forget who, but it was.
Yeah, but there were some really good spots in there, and a couple of times I thought it could go either way.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing at this point, are we done?
That they would take I didn't think they would take the titles off of Lucha Bros, but like there were a couple of times where it's like, is he going to kick out? Is he going to kick out? And then like the 3 is coming down, and somehow Phoenix just like flops out, and it's like, oh okay, now he's halfway across the ring laying on his stomach.
Then we had the match of it was the trios: Ruby Soho, Anna Jay, Ty Conti.
Before we get to the trios, you were about to ask me something.
Was I?
Yeah, of like, do I think that this is like the end of the feud?
Yes, yes.
For a while, maybe.
Yeah.
like you know at some point, Lucha Bros are going to be like, hey, we want our AAA titles back. And maybe then they'll do a title versus title.
That would make the most sense, yes.
Because you know that that's the only way that FTR is going to put those titles up against the Lucha Bros.
Yeah, something happened on Dynamite, though, that makes me think that... What?
But let's get to that when we get to that.
All right, yeah.
Go ahead with...
We'll move on here. Ruby Soho and the J, Ty Conti versus Nyla Rose, the Bunny, and Penelope Ford.
Penelope back in her, like, swimsuit-looking gear.
Yes. So I actually mentioned that in the chat. It looks like she either got her gear back because she had originally had it lost or stolen.
Right.
So that's when she, probably switched to something that she could get off the rack of the leather pants and a leather top type of deal. So she either had new gear made or she got her old gear back. So I'm guessing one of the two.
Yeah. Although I was starting to really dig the street gear sort of look.
I did too. I like that a lot more. This match, basically, Nyla wants to destroy Ruby ahead of their match for the TBS tournament. There was a few points where they did not cross paths until eventually, of course, they did. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good match. I thought all the ladies looked good. Penelope hit, some good drop kicks. I like there was a spot where I forget who did. I think Ruby laid herself across the two ropes perpendicular to the corner to box in. I think it was either the Bunny or Penelope, so Ty Conti could do a running boot to the face or her running pump kick while she was held in the corner. That was pretty cool.
That's when they took turns, like they all tagged in, and I think they were doing like the a very brief, never-ending clothesline spot.
Yeah. In the end, Anna Jay gets hit with the Beast Bomb and gets the pin.
Yes.
I do have to say, though, Ty Conti hit the Bunny with a Ty KO, and it looked good this time. Normally, at least with the Bunny, she misses by a mile. Like, the Bunny doesn't get anywhere near her leg. This time, looked good.
Good.
Let's see. We had Darby Allin and Sting backstage. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. They were talking about how Sting. Jesus Christ! What did I have? I didn't even write this down correctly, did I?
So
made his debut
Shivani, Shivani mentioned that this is going to be the first time that Sting's been in the Greensboro Coliseum since he made his he had his first match in the legendary facility in 1988.
And then there was blindsided by Dax Harwood attacking Sting, and Darby Allin and Cash Wheeler jumps in, and that was basically that. They beat him up. FTR holds up Sting. Tully is about to attack Sting, and Darby Allin launches himself at FTR, knocking them all down. So we had a little scuffle here between them.
Tully then hit Sting with a low blow and said, "One more time, Sting." So are we going to get Tully versus Sting at some point?
I hope not.
Yeah, and Tully still wants to fight Arn.
I don't want any of these guys in the ring anymore.
Like, is Jake the Snake going to be like, you know what? Let's make this a fatal 4-way because I want in on this too.
Next up, we had the debut of Hook in the ring. And this guy got a massive hometown response because this was still in Long Island. It is against Fuego del Sol. Hook just wanders down there with his hair just completely like flopped out to the side. It was hilarious. He completely disrespects Fuego by turning his back to him and hits a bunch of judo throws, tosses him around a bunch, and then in the end, he hits a bunch of suplexes, so continuing on the legacy of his dad, and he chokes out Fuego with what used to be called the Taz mission. They're now calling Red Rum. Is that what they're calling it?
Rum. Red Rum. Yes, they're calling that Red Rum. And apparently AEW made sure to put in the Rampage recap, Fuego was on a 3-match winning streak heading into this match against Hook.
Well, that's just a bummer.
Yeah.
Davis in the chat says Hook needs some work.
Yeah,
I mean, he's obviously green, but I mean, I think they pretty much showed off what they needed to show off. It didn't look he's just like the total douchebag, which is exactly what he needs to be.
Yeah, and I love how it looked like he was chewing gum the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was, but yeah, his style, it actually kind of reminds me, especially because of all the judo throws, reminds me a little bit of Conti.
Yes,
where's that mix between judo and wrestling.
Yes, he basically looks like a Muay Thai fighter or kickboxer because he comes down. He wasn't wearing knee pads, but he was wearing like Muay Thai shorts or kickboxing shorts, and not the super tall boots, but not the super short boots. And then taped up all the way up to like mid forearm for the tape job.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good look. Looks like a total douchebag. Love it.
I'm a little surprised that nobody from Team Taz came out with him for the entrance.
I think that makes it even better because that just makes him even more of an arrogant dick, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna just beat the shit out of Fuego."
Yeah.
So
Not that I
works.
expected any of them to come down ringside.
Yeah.
But at least onto the stage and high five or fist bump.
Yeah. Taz was at commentary, so.
Right, but where was Ricky? Where was Hobbs?
Yep. Don't know. Where are we? Next, we had the main event. Of course, we had the tri-screen with Mark Henry. So Adam Cole and the Young Bucks on one, the Best Friends on another. They're mocking Trent's new haircut. Cole says that Wheeler has potential, but he's with the wrong crew. And Trent questions if the promo should be about him being back. But Orange Cassidy said, no, this is about Yuta. And they promise that they have a surprise for Cole. And then they all just start yelling at each other. And Mark Henry does his it's time for the main event.
Sounds like we've had enough talk.
So then we had...
when they start yelling, that is enough talk.
Yeah, so we had Adam Cole versus Wheeler Yuta. This was a good match. I mean, Wheeler can bump around, so I really like him for that. Of course, he's... I don't know how long he's actually been wrestling. Obviously, he's on the newer side, so of course he is not going to be winning. And he's kind of like the perpetual loser of the Best Friends, which is fun.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, it was what it was. He ends up eating the. Did he get a? Did he eat a Panama Sunrise or not? I don't think he did.
Let's see here.
No, he reversed one out into a backdrop, but eventually Cole
hit him with the boom for the win.
With the boom to the back of the head for the win. But after the match, we had a brawl between the best friends and the super elite, yeah. That's where Adam Cole then goes for. It looks like he's going to go for a Panama Sunrise on Orange Cassidy, but then he kicks him in the nuts. And then they hit a triple BTE trigger on Trent's newly repaired neck.
Yeah, so according to Cage Match, Yuta started wrestling at the end of 2015 and had a total of 4 matches for CZW and the New York Wrestling Connection.
Well, already. So,
and
he's been wrestling for 5 years.
Yeah, since then he's had 312 matches.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So good on Rampage. We'll move over to Dynamite. I mean, we kind of gave our overall thoughts. The show kicked off with Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship, and this match ended up going to a 60-minute draw. The first about 20 minutes of the match, and this is where I then wrote, I think they're going at least 40, because there was no heat spot that happened. It was back and forth for the first 20 minutes. Nobody got any lengthy time of offense. And then
I like how, even though he's just so cocky and you want to see him punched in the face, Danielson kept doing the thing of tying himself up in the ropes, or after he'd get a little bit of offense on Page, he'd start doing jumping jacks.
Yes, so he'd run away, get tied, stick his head through the ropes so the ref would step in. So he kept doing that, kept doing jumping jacks, and then at about, I'm not sure where it was in relation to the 30-minute mark, but somewhere between the 20 and 30-minute mark, we have Hangman Page is pulled headfirst into the ring post, so he comes up bleeding, and they go to a commercial. And if you're watching on TNT, it would have been fine, but on Fight, they basically just hung with this because they stalled forever after that spot. So that little bit really bummed me out because they stalled for so long with the doctor and all that stuff.
And part of it, the doctor, it looked like he was trying to pour water, so that Hangman could drink it, but it was just going all over the lower half of his face.
Yes.
And commentary's is he trying to wash away the blood? Oh no, it looks like he's trying to give Hangman something to drink. And then I still don't remember if the doctor ever wiped away the blood from his forehead.
He did. He did wipe some of it.
Came over and was doing some stuff. So it's the ref and the doctor were there. Bryan is in the ring walking around flipping off the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing whatever he can to get some more heel heat.
So we have the heat spot here, and then we have the comeback. And this I wrote, maybe we're turning the corner or something along those lines. But then we hit the 40-minute mark, and that's when I wrote, if they go to a 60-minute draw, that will be insane. And that's when I wrote, I think we're rounding the corner though. And then I wrote, we're past 45. And then at the 50-minute mark, I said they're doing the 60-minute draw. And they went through a second heat spot. We had Hangman Page. He jumped off the top to try to send Bryan through the timekeeper's table, but he wipes himself out on the timekeeper's table. They go back and forth. Page goes for a buckshot lariat, but Bryan counters it into a label lock, but Page gets to the bottom ropes. They have some near falls, and then near the end here, Hangman, like, his arm has been being worked over by Bryan the whole time. Bryan's knee has been worked over throughout the match, so he's hobbling. And so his kicks aren't doing that much, and Bryan's kicks aren't doing that much, and Hangman, his lariats are not doing that much because his arm is messed up. So they trade a few of those and no-sell each other. In the end, though, we do get a jumping Deadeyes that missed by about a mile. Bryan was so far off the mat with that Deadeyes, but it was fine. We had Bryan kicking out of a tombstone pile driver. Then we do have Hangman getting a big burst of energy, hitting a lariat. And then he goes for a buckshot lariat. And as Bryan crashes to the ground, the bell rings at the 60-minute mark.
Yeah. And then did you hear the crowd chanting 5 more minutes?
I thought they were chanting 1 more minute, but that could have been 5. Everybody else says it was 5 more minutes. But yes, they were.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was like. Are they chanting 5 more minutes? And like, yeah, it was just so great that, halfway through or a little past half, the fans are chanting, fight forever. It's like, there's a 60-minute time limit, right? And that, yeah, they wanted them to go longer than they did. And I really loved the spot where Danielson was running towards Page, going for the Psycho knee, and Hangman hits him with a pop-up powerbomb.
Yes.
Then there's the other Psycho knee that got countered into that Deadeye that you said, his head was way off the mat. But, you don't want the man with possible brain damage getting his head dropped on the mat.
Yeah, but missing by 18 inches and missing by, a reasonable 6 inches, a lot different.
Yeah. But didn't Danielson do a flying headbutt?
He did.
At one point, and I'm like, why, dude?
Yep.
Why?
Yep, he did. Don't know why.
But this was one of those matches where, both guys came out looking strong. Because, all right, well, yeah, sure, Danielson didn't win, but neither did Hangman. Both guys looked really good. I also am curious if they're going to start some kind of storyline that Danielson just can't win the big one anymore. Because he's now gone to time limit draws with 2 world champions in AEW.
Yeah. I don't know. That could come into play, because I'm guessing when they do the rematch, Hangman is going to win, so yeah.
Probably.
We had the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish backstage. Cole is basically saying, when will the best friends learn to leave him alone after they left him laying at Rampage, but they aren't. And then the Bucks basically end up suggesting an 8-man tag for Rampage, and they also claim they will end Sue's career. I'm not sure what career they are specifically speaking of, but that is what it is. And they also and then Cole has a little Christmas gift that he has a surprise for next week.
Yeah. Not sure what the gift is, but he's got a gift.
He's got a gift. Wardlow with Shawn Spears versus Matt Seidel. Wardlow basically beat the crap out of Seidel, hit some power bombs, and while he's doing that, Spears grabs a mic and tells him, just pin him already. You don't need to hit another one. But then the crowd is chanting one more time, and Wardlow gives the Seidel another one. And
yeah, they're calling that the Powerbomb Symphony.
Okay.
I remember the first time he did it, I was like, "Oh, are they starting Powerbomb City?"
Yeah,
and they're calling it the Powerbomb Symphony.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, but yeah, like Spears was just being like super dickish.
Yes. And then after the match was over, Spears gets in the ring. He's like, "Okay, I mean, we don't get paid by the hour here. Just finish the match." And then he smacks Seidel with a chair a few times, and it looks like he's having an orgasm. And then he gets a phone call, and he says it's MJF, and that MJF has told him and Wardlow to go get some champagne for after MJF's match tonight. And this Spears, since he has become the accountability buddy, I love this Spears.
Yeah, and I love that he told Wardlow, "Yeah, you can just wear that."
Yeah,
like, don't change clothes. You can just wear that to the store.
And he also said, "I'm driving, you're buying."
Yeah.
So, obviously leading a lot more into strife with Wardlow and the Pinnacle. So
yeah, I'm really glad now that this did not end the way I was wanting it to, with Wardlow and MJF fighting in the Dynamite Diamond Ring match.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, accountability buddy Spears, I hope this goes on for at least until the pay-per-view in March, because this is
I want 6 months of it. Let it go all the way to Double or Nothing.
I mean, I would not be against it, because accountability buddy Spears is the best. All right, we have a vignette for Malakai Black. He is in some sort of home, kind of like a southwestern type of, like Adobe type home, like you'd see. Of course, the black around his eye is continuing to spread and get darker, and he's talking about the lessons that the House of Black have taught him. And then he's got somebody who gives him some sort of book, and somebody is cloaked and kneeling in front of him. He spits black mist in his face, and then he says, "Now you're so much more than a king."
And I have heard that AEW just signed Brody King, who was with ROH.
And who is one half of the PWG Tag Team Champions with Malakai Black.
I didn't know that last point, but I knew that they were somehow connected.
Yes.
Dude is like super tatted up, so like he looks like he would just fit really well with Black anyway. So speculation is that Brody King was the cloaked man.
Yes. So I'm assuming that is the case.
Yeah, guessing that gets revealed next week. Because remember, Black does have the match against Griff Garrison.
Correct. Yes.
I'm assuming that Pillman will be ringside. So if at some point it does become a 2-on-1, Malakai would want somebody to sort of come to his aid.
Yeah, I'm curious if he comes out with Malakai to begin with as the cloaked man, and that we don't know who he is until later. So he's already at ringside, and
That could be a possibility.
Yep. Lost my notes here. Next up, we had the rubber match of Serena, Deeb, and Hikaru Shida. I thought this was a pretty solid match. Shida was super aggressive in this match. I don't think it was as good as their second match. I think the second match was the best one. I don't know. It wasn't as good as one of the previous ones.
The second match was the one that Shida won in the tournament.
Yes. Overall, I think I think the biggest problem was the crowd, because they had just watched the 60-minute match. I think the crowd was kind of out of this match, and that was kind of a bummer. Serena Deeb was using a lot of underhanded tactics. She then, near the end, ripped off the top turnbuckle pad and tries to throw Shida into it, and Deeb is the one who ends up going into her own trap, hitting her head on it, and Shida pins her with a jackknife pin. Thought it was a pretty decent match.
Yeah. Decent match. It could have been a little better.
Yes. I think, like I said, if the crowd was more into this match, I think it would have elevated the match a lot more.
Probably.
Was what it was.
Probably.
Yeah. Then we had Tony Schiavone. He's with the Varsity Blondes, and they point out that Julia is not with them, and Griff goes off on Malakai Black, and Pillman is like questioning and trying to calm down, and Griff is like, okay, you don't have to, I'll take care of it myself, type of deal. And he says, next week I'm going to break Black's jaw. This was the best promo Griff Garrison has ever done.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting that Griff referred to Julia as our sister. She's our sister, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, that's just kind of weird, but okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how, obviously more as the metaphorical sister figure, not the actual literal sister figure.
I don't want to get involved in the genealogy of the Varsity Blondes.
Yeah.
Especially given the, taken alongside the comments of Max Caster in the infamous rap that got him suspended for 30 days, or the raps that he delivered for like 2 weeks prior. But hey, man, like if that's your deal, go ahead for it, Mr. Garrison.
Yeah, because I don't think her real life relationship is canon in AEW. I'm pretty sure it isn't. All right, Eddie Kingston, he is talking to the camera, says he's tired of the situation between him and 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and them attacking he and Ortiz last week. So he challenges 2.0 and Danny to a 10-man tag versus himself, Penta, Phoenix, Santana, and Ortiz. And he does not care what partners that 2.0 and Garcia scrounge up.
So which partners do you think 2.0 and Garcia will scrounge up?
FTR.
Okay.
I think that's what actually happened.
Ooh, that could be a really good 10-man.
Yeah, that would kind of make the most sense. I'm checking real quick because I know it happened. Oh, no, they pull in the Acclaim.
Okay.
So that's who it's going to be on Rampage.
All right.
Then we had the final match of the evening. This was for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, the third year in a row. MJF is in the finals here versus Dante Martin. MJF comes out first and starts cutting a promo. Basically says, last week CM Punk didn't have anything to say, so he just buried the local sports team for 10 minutes because he sucks. And then he talks about how CM Punk wants to get past me so he can go after gold. And then MJF said he thought it made Punk the new Ryback for being, the undefeated but having underwhelming matches. And then tells Dante he doesn't give a damn about his young talent, and he's gonna beat the crap out of him. Basically it.
So just real quick, do you remember when Ryback was like really over?
I wasn't watching at that time. I know what happened, but I was not watching.
He was like really over for a period. He was a Paul Heyman guy. He was getting title matches, and then he just sort of got buried and then left, and now he's angry about everything, and he keeps posting on Twitter these polls of like, where should I go and retire? He includes retire in the polls that he puts up. And retire always comes out with like a super majority, and it's fucking hilarious.
It is. He basically brings it on himself every time. It's funny.
Yeah.
MJF also said that he could beat Dante Martin with a headlock takeover. Same thing that he did for Darby Allin, or to Darby Allin.
Excluding, the punch to the face with the diamond ring.
Yes.
And then the headlock takeover.
So Dante goes for a rolling 450 splash in the middle, and he knees MJF like right in the throat.
Yes.
It looked like that sucked. But MJF, being the professional he is, basically sells the jaw. We get a bunch of dives from Martin as well. There's one, he does a springboard shooting star press to the floor and barely gets any of MJF. MJF basically has to jump backwards to at least make sure that Dante doesn't kill himself. And then one thing I noticed, Dante.
Let's just talk about the athleticism, because he just like leapt from the ring onto the top rope before flying outside.
Yes.
Like, dude's got a lot of talent.
Yes, he has got a lot of talent and spatial awareness and body control. So he can do all these crazy moves that nobody else can do. The one thing, though, being able to do all this stuff is very draining, because I noticed Martin was gassed near the end of this match. If that match was going to go like any longer, he would have been totally screwed.
It's kind of like putting somebody that's a super talented 200-meter runner, but can also high jump and long jump, and then saying, all right, you're going to go run the 16 now.
Right. Not going to work very well. So,
they'll be gassed because that's not what they're used to doing.
Mm-hmm. So, if I have to give any advice to Dante, is maybe go for
cardio.
Some runs, some cardio. Definitely some cardio. But it was fine. Like, it didn't look like he was gonna get too out of control, but when you get gassed and you're doing that type of stuff, then you could have some serious problems happening. We end up they exchange some pinfalls. MJF hits a Liger bomb. Dante kicks out of that. Dante hits the nosedive, which is his double springboard moonsault. But Ricky Starks has run down to the ring and puts MJF's foot on the rope. So a member of Team Taz is being all pissed off that Dante has betrayed him. Or he also tossed him out of the Battle Royale last week. And now Dante is yelling at Ricky, and MJF attacks Dante from behind, locks on the Salt of the Earth, and gets the submission win. So MJF keeps his Dynamite Diamond ring for the third year in a row.
Yeah, I'm curious where this is going. And apparently it's a new ring.
Was it?
They mentioned at the beginning, like, I thought they said it was a new ring.
I don't think so. I think they actually took it from MJF to go put it on the pedestal.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were talking about like how it was crafted and something, which I guess is what made me think it was a new ring.
Yes.
I don't know.
They said it was appraised at $100,000.
Yeah.
When originally they said it cost $50,000 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, inflation, man.
I know, right? I haven't looked at the price of gold or diamonds. I don't think those have really gone up much.
Oh no, hold on. Alexa, what's the current cost of gold?
She's not getting back to you.
$800 an ounce.
How much?
Gold.
18? Yeah, so it's up about 50%, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that would make sense. If it was a 50,000, now it's 100,000. It's up 100%, but close enough.
Yeah. Plus there's the sentimental value that's added onto it, because the same guy has had possession of it for 2 years.
Yes, it's now the prestige of the item has now increased its value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make an NFT of that.
After the match is over, FTR makes their way down to the ring to celebrate with MJF, and then the lights go out. And I was thinking, is it the Briscoes? Because FTR attacked the Briscoes or challenged the Briscoes at the last ROH show last weekend.
Yeah, final battle.
So I'm like, is this the Briscoes? No. It was Darby Allin and Sting. They brawl with FTR, but then MJF hits a low blow on Sting, and the heels take over. Then CM Punk runs out with a baseball bat, and the Pinnacle scramble, and Punk gives the bat to Sting, and then grabs the mic, tells MJF, hey, you don't want to fight one-on-one? Fine, whatever. Next week it's going to be my two friends here versus you three, and you'll just have to deal with it.
And apparently that was the announcement that we were being teased. Remember, all night long, we're getting teased. Tony Khan's got a major announcement. He's gonna give it to us later. Major announcement. And the announcement was that Tony Khan made the match for CM Punk, Sting, and Darby versus MJF and FTR.
Yeah, not the biggest announcement ever. What?
Yeah, like that was not a major announcement.
Mm-mm.
Major announcement would be, we just signed this guy.
Right.
Here's this new arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Briscoes coming in. Major announcement. Whoever it is, I forget who won the ROH World Title at Final Battle, bringing him in. And, like, the ROH title will be defended on Battle of the Belts. Major announcement.
Yeah.
Here's a match that the challenge was made 30 seconds before we went off air, that's not a major frickin' announcement.
No, it would have been way more sense if the Briscoes came out. And then we get an announcement of Briscoes versus FTR at Battle for the Belts.
Or if Malakai came out for some reason and just attacked everybody. Like the lights going out thing. Like my thought was, why is Malakai showing up?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think that Sting and Darby would be there.
Yeah, Sting and Darby were last on my thought. I thought Briscoes or something to do with Malakai Black and possibly Andrade.
Yeah.
But then that would have been weird because Andrade has been paying FTR for their services.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's what we got. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, yeah. I want to see the match because the match is going to be awesome, but it was just weird how they made this as something bigger than it was.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
I was not impressed with the major announcement of Tony Khan made the match that just got challenged.
Yes. So
like that's common. That's not major announcement.
Yeah. So next week it's going to be CM Punk, Sting, Darby Allin versus MJF and FTR on Rampage. Tomorrow night we have the 10-man tag: Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, and the Lucha Bros versus 2.0, Daniel Garcia, and what turns out to be the Acclaimed. We have the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish versus Best Friends and Rocky Romero. So I'm guessing it's Trent, Yuta, Chucky, and Rocky for that side. And then we have Ty Conti versus Penelope Ford in a submission match.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that match.
I am too. That should be good.
Yeah, and the way they, made the challenge and confirmed it, video package.
Mm-hmm.
Like, recorded video package, where Ty Conti is, basically flapping her gums at Penelope in a, separate recording, but interspliced in is flapping her gums at Ty. And yeah, like more video package things. There was also a video package about Hook.
Yeah, just kind of a recap.
Yeah. Like, you've been saying for 2 years, give us recaps.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, they're starting to do it a little bit here and there, but yeah, like they need to be more consistent.
Yeah, give me a top of the show before you roll the opening video. Give us a 1-minute recap of everything we need to know going into this show.
Or I even really like the way New Japan does at their major shows, where they've got the little video recap immediately before the match. Yeah.
They'll do that too, but they also have a big opening video too, kind of running down everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but recaps let us, remind us, here's what happened between these people and these people, here's why they're fighting.
Yeah, especially given how AEW books long term. I mean, one, there's new people. You want to hook the new people who are coming in and haven't been watching for the past 2.5 years, or just over 2 years now. And for those of us who have been
going back to the first Double or Nothing, because that's really when AEW started.
Yeah. So you have that, but also they use history of way before AEW even started as well. So give us some of that, because even those of us who have been watching the major storylines going all the way back to 2016 in ROH and New Japan, we can't remember all this stuff. And even those of us who we rehash the show, every show we relive at least once because we talk about them and whatnot. We cannot remember everything that happened because there's so much and they book so long term that we have little callbacks to things that happened 18 months ago
Yeah, and I'm curious, now that Bobby Fish is hanging out with SuperClick, will they come up with a name for this group of four men?
I don't know how long this group of four men is going to last with Kyle O'Reilly possibly coming in.
I have heard, like some people rumoring that was going to happen, other people saying it's not, and like Kevin Owens was being teased, or Kevin Steen, and he just apparently re-signed for buku monies with WWE, so he's not coming yet. So like the whole Four Horsemen, or not Four Horsemen, the Mount Rushmore thing that was briefly teased mostly on social media, that's not happening now.
Right. But we could, if Kyle O'Reilly, because Kyle O'Reilly's contract is expired at this point.
Okay.
And so is Johnny Gargano's. So we have, those two are on the market right now.
Yep.
If Kyle O'Reilly comes in and he reunites with Bobby Fish, then we could have a fracture where either Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly fracture off from the Elite, or Adam Cole goes with them as well. I'm not sure when that would happen because I don't know when Omega's coming back, because there's going to be a blow up between Omega and Adam Cole at some point.
Yes.
So when that happens, or what type of timing that could happen.
Please be either, and yeah, again, not knowing how long Omega is out, it's got to either be at Double or Nothing or All Out.
Yeah. So we could be heading eventually towards the Elite, Omega and the Bucks, versus the Era, Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But we will see.
We will see.
Yes.
And next week, they're calling the show Holiday Bash.
Holiday Bash, yes. And also next week, Rampage will not be on Friday, the 24th, because that's Christmas Eve. It will actually be on Christmas, on the 25th, because TNT plays A Christmas Carol 24 hours on New Year's, on Christmas Eve.
A Christmas Carol?
Yeah. A Christmas Story.
I know TBS did the Christmas Story.
Yeah. I think it's TNT that does it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why
I don't know.
They'll be pushed to the next day.
Yeah, like I tried watching that movie again a couple of years ago, and it's just not that good.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
And I actually have a Red Ryder in my closet, like right next to me.
Shoot your eye out, kid.
Those have no power. You can shoot yourself in the leg and you'll be like, did I hit myself? Anyways, I thought this was a good show, and we're going into the holidays. It doesn't look like they're going to be phoning anything in. We will see how it goes, especially because it lands far enough away, because Christmas is on a Saturday and New Year's is on a Saturday. So the Wednesdays are far enough away from those holidays. We should be okay. Actually, I believe today was Brody Lee's birthday. So,
yes.
And a couple days ago was their wedding anniversary. So a little bit of a bummer. I miss Brody so much.
Yeah.
And his passing is coming up because that was the 26th. So, man, it's been a year, which is just insane.
Yeah.
So I think that is all I have on this front. I have watched 0 of the New Japan stuff. I am so far behind. I don't know how I'm going to binge watch it all.
Has AEW yet announced when the last 3 matches in the TBS tournament are happening?
I assume one is happening next week. I'm assuming both of them are happening next week. One on Dynamite, one on Rampage. And then the TBS tournament wraps up on the 5th.
That's what I would assume, but like they've not said anything, and
we'll probably find out tomorrow.
I'm getting frustrated with the way they're booking the women's division.
Yes, it has not been that good. Though, are there a couple women free agents right now? Oh yeah, from ROH, the ROH champion, and Roxy is the champion right now, I think, right?
I don't know, but yeah, there's got to be some women that got let go from the E that would be decent and coming available soon.
Yeah, and I believe Marina Shafir made her debut on Dark this week.
Yeah. So like right now, the only thing that we know next week is the CM Punk Sting Darby versus Pinnacle. And next Saturday, Cody fights Sammy.
Yep. So there we are. That's where we land at the moment. We will see how it goes. But I would really like, if they do tournaments in the future, to stick dates on when each of those matches are going.
Yeah.
When they give the brackets, stick the dates in there.
Give the brackets, and like the way they have done when they've done men's tournaments, they've had multiple first round matches on the same show. Do the same for the women.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, we've got an 8-person tournament. We're doing 2 first round matches this week, 2 first round matches next week.
Yeah, and if you want to give some weight to some of your other shows, announce them for Dark and Elevation. I mean, Dark and Elevation. Like, we never hear anything about Dark and Elevation anymore.
Yeah, like they run the stuff in the scroll on the bottom, and I just don't even pay attention to it anymore.
Yeah, that's what the part of the recap should be about. You know, recap when you come in on Dynamite, be like, oh, this one has, this is important stuff that happened on Dark and Elevation.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, remember at that one point in time where they told us that Matt Seidel was on like a 7,500 match win streak because he was having like 15 matches a night on Dark.
Mm-hmm. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube. The links to those channels are in the show notes. Follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1. There's also a link to our Discord in there as well. And you can follow Darryl at Darryl W. Perry on the Twitter. And his info is in the show notes. So, for Darryl W. Perry, my name's Eric LaRoche. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.